Gather around, boys and girls, because today I want to tell you guys how it felt to be a teenager right as MySpace was peaking. Because there's a couple of things that I haven't gotten over, and the fact that MySpace isn't around anymore is one of those things. Like, I'm still extremely upset that they took away MySpace from us. I just can't forgive them. So for those of you that were too young to remember MySpace or weren't born when MySpace was even around, let me just give you a little bit of a briefer. MySpace was a way more creative, way more organizable, way more geared towards young people Facebook. MySpace was just so fun, and it breaks my little aching heart to know that MySpace is not around anymore. MySpace would allow you to do whatever you wanted to your homepage as long as you knew how to HTML code. So, yes, you might be wondering, most people don't know how to code today. People knew how to code back then? The answer to that is no. Most people didn't know how to code at all, but all people had to do was go on Google and type in MySpace layouts, and there'd be thousands and thousands and thousands of websites where they could choose a generic layout from that website if they didn't know how to code. Which is cool and all, but what most people did is they would take bits and pieces from a bunch of websites and just put them together to create a little bit of a more unique looking MySpace. Like, I'm pretty sure if you go on Google right now and you just look up MySpace layouts, you'll be able to see a lot of those. MySpace definitely resembled like a scrapbook that you would put online for everybody to see. And also, just coming home from school and having a bunch of notifications like you have a brand new comment, you have a brand new picture comment, you have a brand new friend request. I don't know about you guys, but my dopamine receptors will go out of control, which would then make me want to make a way better looking MySpace. So I couldn't settle to just whatever, like I had to make sure that my MySpace was a game. So if you thought your MySpace looked good, it looked nothing compared to mine, because I would go the extra 10 miles to outshine you, because I needed those comments and I needed those profile picture comments because my dopamine receptors needed that, okay? So for example, one of the things that I would do is I would go on people's MySpaces that were really well coded to the point where it looks like a website, and Eminem happened to be one of those people. His MySpace literally looked no different than his website. So what I would do is I would then take the code that's in the background of his website to inspect element, and I would paste that code onto my MySpace about me, so this way I can now have access to knowing if I were to remove a line of code, what part would get removed from where, and this way I was backwards engineering how to code. I was a genius and I didn't even know it. Which, that's what gets me upset the most, because if MySpace was still around, we would all be programmers right now. We would all know how to code. And think about it, all those scene kids from back in the day would all be employed. And talking about scene kids, do you guys remember the scene kids? They made the website so much fun. So just like in real life, MySpace had its own cliques. There were cliques from pretty much anything. So that'd be like Hollister Kids clique, video games clique, the scene kids clique. And for those of you that don't know what a scene kid is, it's like emo kids, but they were like more colorful emo kids. They were also extremely skinny, and they had like their hair in shapes that you could only see in anime characters, but in real life. And they also had piercings, like snake bites that would go like right here, which would look ridiculous and would definitely impact their way of life. Like, I can't imagine how they would be able to eat food with two hoop earrings going through their lips. But hey, they made the website so much fun. Because if it wasn't for scene kids, this band right here would not have existed. I used to make fun of this band on the daily. They provided to me so many lols that the whole Scene Kids era was worth it. So I was extremely fascinated with Scene Kids because that band wasn't the only band that made music that didn't need to exist. There were a lot of other bands that made music that didn't need to exist. I mean, there was even a time where I was so fascinated with Scene Kids, I would want to go to the mall just to see them because they would all hang out around Hot Topic, and they would literally just buy the most outrageous outfits just to walk in circles in the mall, just so they could have pictures to post on MySpace. I don't know if that's true, but that's how it felt like growing up. I mean, there was even a time in my life where I solely only wanted to talk to scene girls because I was just fascinated with them. And did they like me back? I don't know. Honestly, Who cares? Because MySpace also had this like feature called the bulletin board. And I'm talking about if you wanted to know whatever gossip is happening in town in your 7th to 8th, maybe ninth grade, it would be on that bulletin board because people would do surveys on there. Now you see now in 2019 when you do a survey, you probably get paid to do a survey to give your opinions. But back in 2004, 2005, 2006, or whenever MySpace peaked, people would do these surveys for free and they would just spill out their whole life stories on there. So if, let's say, you had a crush and you hung out with her, you took her to the ice cream store on your mom's debit card, your mom picked you up and dropped you off, and then her mom picked you up and dropped you off at your house, and then later that day you wanted to know if she likes you back, you would have to go on MySpace to see if she did a survey. And luckily for you, 99% of the time she already has. And there's going to be 2 types of questions on there. It's either going to be like, what is your favorite food? And she would then write out what her favorite food is on that bulletin board. Or the real juicy questions would be like, is your crush know that you have a crush on them? And they'd be like, yes. Or what is the first initial of your crush? Luckily for me, my name is Yoel. So as soon as they put Y, I would know that it's me. Or sometimes I'd be like, why? Oh shit, like, is she like saying, why are you asking me this question? Whatever. In my situation, it'll be pretty unique because my first name is Yoel, so if they put down Y, I would know that I'm in there. My confidence will be out of this world to try to get with this girl now, Try to take her to more ice cream dates and things you do when you're in 7th grade. But that was besides the point. The point is that as soon as I knew that I was in there like swimwear, I would feel so good about it, and then I would go and change my MySpace song to like lovey-dovey songs, like like Lil Wayne's I Can Make Your Bed Rock. And just because there were so many ways to show signals of what's going on in your life without really saying it out loud, MySpace had this thing called a top 8. So if you knew that your crush somehow liked you back a little bit, you would need to make the ultimate sacrifice that might ruin some friendships and cause so much drama. You would have to move somebody out of your top 8 and replace it with your crush. And boy, oh boy, the life-changing decisions were made every time somebody got moved in a top 8. Now, for those of you that weren't around when MySpace was around, your top 8 was like the 8 most important people in your life. And in what order you had them in there really mattered. So like your first one would either be saved for your girlfriend or your best friend, or if you were like me and you wanted to avoid this whole drama, you would place, I don't know, somebody famous on there that you've never met, so this way you wouldn't be a part of, the patriarchy. I didn't want to participate in this drama, you guys, so I never had anybody in a certain type of way in my top 8, but everybody else did. And if you see people being moved from 1 to 8, you knew some serious beef is happening there. And if it was a couple, you knew a breakup was imminent. I know you remember those days. I wish MySpace was still around.